Hello everyone, my name is Pt.2. We're going to start on the second part of my little League of Legends for Beginner thing I've been doing. And let's begin with positioning. Now, believe it or not, positioning does make a difference in how the game plays. If you solo lane or duo lane, or you can even triple up on a lane, you can do a lot of unique things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the basics of what happens, of what most players have come across. Now, there is flexibility in positioning depending upon not only your play style for whatever role you chose and your team agreed upon, your team composition, and not even that, but your champion, how your champion functions. The standard positioning, what you'd see in most games, most ELO games I've seen this myself, is the tank gets the top lane basically to get the massive XP and to get the gold he needs for items to become a tank. The ability power, the AP, gets mid lane as always. The attack damage support get bottom, and junglers get their jungle route. And the only time the junglers deviate is when they go for a gank. Now there are a few variants to the compositions that are more these are the common variations, where basically you don't have a jungler, and there's the APD and not a jungler, and the spare goes to top lane with tank. Usually this means you have a little bit more damage output, so the tank doesn't need to take as much damage. Because if you duo a top lane, they're usually going to take their jungler, the other team will take their jungler and push the jungler back up top to balance the lanes out. Later, maybe in higher games they don't do that, but so far that's the way it's been, where I've jungled and I've been forced to go up top as an AD instead of a jungle, just to take care of the extra damage that's coming out of the top lane. And the other one is an extra support over jungler, which is very rare in my case, because most people realize who a support is when they look at the abilities. Healing, mana return, you're a support if you want to play that way. And for the most part, if you have two supports, your group is basically be a very slow machine that moves forward if you win the match at all. Because there's no guarantee you're going to win a match. There's tons of variables that change of whether you win or lose. How champions compare to others, who your laning partner is, and how they works together with your champion. Who your laning opponent is and how it works with your champion. There's a whole bunch of variables that can change a game for good or bad. Not to mention your personal skill can change it too. Now there are tons of other compositions that come around that are viable, I guess you'd say. They basically differ between your group composition, what champions are running, play style. Even then, there's variances based upon if you dual queue or group queue with a group. If you dual queue, usually you guys stick with the same exact setup you had before, or you group together, or you group separately. But basically, you guys know each other and you know how the other person plays a little bit, so you have a better composition in that. You have a little bit better knowledge, and it works better together. And that's basically what I'm going to say about positioning. A lot of this stuff becomes really, really advanced, and you'll learn as you play the game. And the main thing we're going to talk about now is etiquette, gaming etiquette. And basically what you're going to do is it's how to act in the game, or in the meta game, in the case for League of Legends, because there's two parts to the game. And there's some things of do's and don'ts. A lot of newer players don't get this. There are times when I've broken some of the cardinal rules because I've been so pissed, I've raged at people. Although I did apologize later when I realized why I was raging. It was not because he was a shit player, it was because he was a new player and had no idea at all how to play. It's like, oh, well, I raged for the wrong reason. I'm terribly sorry. But the whole thing is, how you should act in the metagame, how you should act in the game. It really changes how the game affects you and other players. Because I sure know, guaranteed, that there's no person who likes being raged at. So why would you want to rage at someone else? And a lot of these etiquettes are based upon treat others how you want to be treated. So we're going to go into the first one, which is called insta-locking. Someone who chooses a champion and locks in right then and there. And you can't change your champion once you're locked. You can change your runes, your masteries if your rune or mastery page is pre-built. You can change your summoner spells, but that's it. You're stuck with that champion. And it's seriously a smack in the face to everyone else. Because not only does it scream, I'm an asshole, this game is not going to go well. But it forces the other players into roles that they might not have been able to play. People who insta-lock don't consider other players, where yeah, sure, maybe you want to play AP, but what if you've practiced as a jungle a little bit and the other guy who wants to AP can't do anything but AP right now? Well, in most cases, a compromise of you just going into jungle and saying, yeah, I'm going to suck ass, but at least we have an AP that knows what he does because he does only AP, won't hurt. And it works the same for almost any other role and stuff. For any other role, basically, it's people try to have an ideal composition when they get in a group, and it's not going to work that way every time, because especially when you solo queue and everyone's just wanting to run their favorite champions. But a lot of give and take comes around in the 60 seconds you've got to choose your group, to get your group together, and usually come up with a decent composition that can take on another team and see if you win or lose. Now, the next thing is when you get your champion. Let's say you select one, not lock it in, but you choose and you're like, okay, this is what I want to play, so I'll click on the champion saying I want to play him. Announce in the chat screen what role you want to play, because many champions play more than one role. And the reason why I'm saying this is the other team cannot see you in team chat. That's what that chat is down there in champion selection. It's team chat. And this, unless you hit shift enter, no one else can see what you're saying, except for your teams. If you pick Alistar, tell him if you're going to run tank. Tell him if you're going to run AP or AD or support. You know, what role do you want to play with Alistar? And that also helps other champions choose what they want to play. It really helps when you know what the other guy's playing. There's many games where I've played, because I play a AP AD combo, I can play either or. I run in there and I'm like, okay, so what are you playing? Well, no one's talking. I'll assume they'll want me to run AP no matter what. So, and they all insta-lock like assholes. So let's select my AP build and run right in there. Sure, I didn't want an AP for this match. I was thinking about having an AD build and just having a little fun here and there. But yeah, thanks, assholes. You just made my day. That's pretty much what goes through my head when it comes like that. Now this is the end game, another etiquette, but it's more focused on the end game function of winning or losing a game. Always try to announce GG either at the end of the game before the defeat or victory sign comes up and you know whether it's a win or lose, or do it in the metagame component where you see the scores and the statistics. It's more of a common courtesy to say, yeah, I had fun. And even if someone's been raging at you or you've been in total ass to someone, you still announce GG and then report the asshole. The reasoning behind that is because the other players did try to have a game. They tried to have a fun game, and the person who made it bad for you is the person to report. You don't flame and rage at people who try to have fun and make it a fun, competitive game like it's supposed to be. And then that flows right into the next little piece of etiquette is be polite in and out of the game. No one likes a troll. You could do it in forums, in the metagame, in the very game you're playing. Don't be a troll. Yes, I know the amenicity of the game really just lets people's inhibitions fly to the wind. But being an ass and a troll, it's no fun on the receiving end, and you might get a few chuckles out of your end, but I'm sure that any troll hates being trolled, just like any ass hates being treated like an ass. And you don't treat other people like you want. If you don't like being trolled, then don't troll other people. You know, treat others how you want to be treated. Now, here's another. One of the issues is don't rage quit. And don't harass other players for a silly minor mistake. Let's say Azariel walks in and he starts his combo, and it was a 2 versus 3, and his partner got picked off, so he was running backwards in an effort to try and pick off the last guy to try and get a kill. The guy is chasing him. He got killed. It's a silly mistake that maybe someone makes without knowledge of what the enemy was building, or maybe he just never played Azuriel, so he didn't notice that maybe his cast time was a tad slower, something like that. Don't do that. One, it's a total rude move, and two, rage quitting screws up the game entirely. Very rarely, unless my team composition of the final 4 people is way overpowered compared to the team that didn't lose a member. Almost always the 4-man team loses. One less person means either less damage, less tanking, or less healing, and that computes into a total statistic of being less than the 5-man team, which will eventually be pushed back. The 5-man eventually push, and then win. Now, it seems like common sense, but all the gaming makes people an ass. The amnesty, again, it just makes it so much easier to just be an ass and not get any reprimands for it. And just don't do it. Seriously, being nice to other people. Even if you get good at this game, someone else is at the same skill level you once were. No one starts out as these amazing players that know the ins and outs of all these champions and how to play and all this stuff. Some people start above others because maybe they played Dota back in the Warcraft 3 mod, or they played Dota 2, or here's a newer. Like, they got some knowledge about the game, but no one's ever been the best right out of the gate. It's impossible. You got the ins and outs of a game like this. You have to learn the hard way, and it takes time. The final one is the biggest reason why you get ragers and quitters in this game. I'm talking about people who actually drop the game and stop playing for months or just outright quit. It's based on the fact of people leaving games. Never, ever, never fucking ever, it's that annoying, do you decide to queue in the 5v5 matchups or any game without making sure you have the allotted normal maximum time. For instance, in the 5v5, it's a 45-minute game on average. Make sure that you have 45 minutes to play the game no matter what. Don't plan on having a 30-minute game and then quitting after the 30 minutes pass because you thought it'd be a quick game. No, devote 45 minutes to a game or don't queue at all. Now, there are exceptions to this. There are times when in real life there's an emergency or something important comes up. I've had it happen a couple of times where I've been playing a game and watching some kids, and the kids are more important than the game. And I'll either tell them I'll be right back. If they want to rage, they can. If I have to quit, I'll quit. But I don't do it very often. I've played a total of, I'm in a pretty high number, and I've only quit maybe 4 games. Because I always make sure I have 45 spare minutes to play the game. And it makes the game better, because no one gets angry. A lot of the anger in this game is generated towards quitters. All this stuff just generates more and more rage, and it shouldn't be happening. You can lessen how much rage and how much quitting is in this game by not quitting in the middle of a match for no reason. Well, as always, if you like this video, favorite and like it. If you have something to say or a request, post in the comment sections below. Subscribe if you like my episodes. I'm going to be coming out with more. Bye.